From the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast, this is AgDay.
Being neighborly from hundreds of miles away.
We hurt too sometimes, and it's nice to know, hey, we can help somebody out in a rough time, and then, you know, they'll return the favor one day.
Those favors and ranch supplies are rolling in to the Texas Panhandle. Plus carbon smart farming.
I believe in 5 years, almost every product that we buy, especially food-wise, will have a CI score affixed to it.
Winter weather returns as planting intentions predictions roll in.
Let's get in the fields and let's get some corn planted as soon as we can. Might be the discussion here for us.
A look at how changes to the acreage mix could impact prices in 2024. Right now on AgDay.
AgDay, presented by Pioneer. What's next happens when the testing grounds meet the proving grounds. Pioneer. What's next happens here.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Analysts are starting to make predictions about what farmers will plant this spring. The latest Allendale, and it's calling for possible record corn production this year. AgDay's Michelle Rook joins me. And Michelle, what about more farmers switching from corn to soybeans, as we've heard could happen this year?
Well, that trend is still in place according to Allendale's survey. However, officials tell me that the shift in acres isn't near as large between corn and soybeans as forecasted by USDA in the Ag Outlook Forum in February or other private forecasts. Now, Allendale's estimates are based on recent survey results of farmers across the country. Farmers tell Allendale they intend to plant over 2.2 million more acres of soybeans than last year, but that's under USDA's projected 4 million acre increase. For corn, they're planting only 1.2 million less acres, far less than USDA's 3.6 million acre cut. The corn-soybean ratio favors soybeans, and input costs are also lower for beans. So what's throttling the shift?
You're looking at most cash corn break-evens, roughly 5 to 5.20 or so, and soybeans 12 to 12.20 or so per bushel. So the corn discussion is a question of how much do we want to lose at these current bids right now for new crop. As it stands right now, the survey suggested, and farmers are quite consistent with this, they suggested that we're going to stay with standard rotation for now.
He says farmers also like to plant corn because they can bushel up, especially if they get the crop planted early. So weather is a factor.
We had a very warm winter. We also have a forecast for a generally warm spring ahead as well. So maybe this idea of let's get in the fields and let's get some corn planted as soon as we can might be the discussion here for us.
However, at 93.5 million acres of corn, that could potentially result in a record corn crop of 15.5 billion bushels, which would not be friendly for ending stocks or price.
The issue with the corn side is really about the beginning stocks, what's left over from this year's current old crop. Due to that beginning stock influence, we might have a total supply of 17.7 billion bushels. That's almost 1 billion bushels higher than last year. So the corn side is a significant problem. This would imply stocks 2.7 billion bushels. And that's easily suggesting futures for new crop below $4.
They're projecting soybean production at 4.4 billion bushels with ending stocks below 400 million. I'm Michelle Rook reporting for AgDay.
Heavy snow in the Denver, Colorado area. The National Weather Service predicting up to 36 inches of snow or up to 4 feet in some areas. And more is expected to fall today. Meanwhile, Kansas saw severe weather with reports of baseball-sized hail, which moved through Wyandotte County and into Platte County in Missouri. Meteorologist Matt Engelbrecht joins us. And Matt, elsewhere, you're tracking the potential for heavy rainfall.
Yeah, in fact, as we go through the weekend, it's going to kind of shift back over to cold air and possibly some snow. Remember the system a couple of weeks ago? Well, that's kind of what we're trending towards. Is you got a bit of a cutoff low out here towards the west, and then a pocket of cold air sinking down to the south. With the ridge developing down to the southeast, we're going to squeeze some moisture in from the south and from the southeast, and then rotate some colder air in and across the Midwest back up to the northeast through the weekend. So mainly Sunday, Monday, and into Tuesday is when some of those snow showers will be possible, and of course the rain will be moving that way as well. So again, this is Sunday at 6 a.m. Still, even after What is going to be quite the snowstorm into Denver, Colorado. With this cutoff low, looking at the potential for, again, some more snow on top of that. Again, there's Sunday at about 6 a.m. Coming up a little bit, we'll take a look at what's going on with the jet stream and also put the rest of this into motion. And more great help on the farm. Jacob of South Dakota saying his hired man requested a PB&J and to go check on the new baby after daycare. He says after careful inspection, he gave both 2 thumbs up. I'll have more on your forecast in just a bit.
JBS and Tyson are paying to settle a lawsuit that accused them of wage fixing. Now, the 2 companies agreeing to pay a combined $127 million. The lawsuit, heard in Colorado, had accused several meat companies and 2 consulting businesses of conspiring to keep workers' wages low. The court finding that an investigation supported specific allegations of the lengthy complaint. Previous settlements were reached with Purdue Farms and Seaboard Foods.
Smart Farming Week on AgDay is brought to you by John Deere. For generations before and generations to come, John Deere is part of your farm and your family. Whatever your technology needs, John Deere has the tools to help you grow your farm. And by Smart Nutrition MAP Plus MST, fertilizer designed with seed safety in mind. Smart Nutrition MAP Plus MST is engineered with a lower salt index. Learn how it protects your seed at smartnutritionmst.com.
Carbon markets continue to promise new opportunities for farmers, but oftentimes those programs require a farmer to change practices or introduce something new. As we wrap up a week of smart farming coverage, Farm Journal's Tyne Morgan explores a new way farmers may soon cash in on carbon.
From his 7,000 acres of no-till crops to switching from synthetic fertilizer to now using regenerative or wastewater as plant food, Kelly Garrett is extremely carbon conscious.
I believe in 5 years, almost every product that we buy, especially food-wise, will have a CI score affixed to it. And I think as producers, we need to educate and be at the forefront of that.
CI score stands for carbon intensity score. He says now with the 45Z tax credit that will go into effect January 1st of next year, your CI score will soon be worth even more, especially if your corn goes to an ethanol plant.
It states that for every point an ethanol plant can get below 50 on their CI score, there's a 2 cent per gallon tax credit.
Kelly says by his calculation, for every point below the current average score of 29.1 in ag, it's worth 2 cents a gallon or 5.5 cents per bushel of corn.
My score is a -6 because of the no-till, the cover crops, the regenerative things I do. So my score is 35 points below the average. If you take 35 times 5.5, that's $1.92.5 per bushel.
Seeing how crucial farmers' CI score will be to ethanol plants in the years ahead, Kelly saw a new opportunity for more than just himself. So he teamed up with Peter Meyer, Jared Creed, and Mike Busing to create Regenerative Roots Solutions to educate all farmers.
The 4 of us got together here in the last couple months and really trying to hone in on what the opportunities are for our network combined. Specifically geared towards these CPG programs and 45Z tax credit coming down the pipeline.
Peter Meyer says a farmer's CI score is based on the GREET model, and an essential update to the model is expected soon from EPA.
The GREET model here was just all for ethanol for cars, right? And now we're talking about for ethanol for automobiles. And now we're talking about a whole different energy source in sustainable aviation fuel.
And now with 45Z, the new tax credits for ethanol plants will also hinge on CI scores from farmers.
What I'm advocating for is that this very much is a partnership with an ethanol plant. The tax credit is available to the ethanol plants, not to farmers, but the ethanol plant, again, doesn't have a lot of hope of gaining much of this tax credit without traceability to us.
Mike Busing has already taken a deep dive into the carbon markets. Through his company, Windy Ridge Ag, they handle the data collection for growers on current carbon programs available today. While those are one-year contracts, Busing says 45Z has the potential to be a longer-term, steady revenue stream for farmers.
Data is going to be the key piece of that. We would all love to just have our growers say, walk in with a piece of paper, right, that says my CI score's 10, right? Pay me for my grain. However, there will be a large data piece of this. It's going to have to go through third-party verification.
A new opportunity for farmers to cash in. The team at Regenerative Roots doesn't see this as a fad.
What we're advocating is for the farmer to be educated about what practices he or she can employ in order to reduce their carbon intensity score and thus end up with more money in their pockets at the end of the day.
It was a bumpy day of trade to close out the week. We'll take a look at what's driving those prices lower coming up next in Markets Now. And later, hay donations are rolling into the Texas Panhandle. We'll take a look at the impacts and what it takes to get that forage shipped in the country. We're learning more about the Department of Justice investigation into ADM. Reuters reporting the investigation is looking into the company's ethanol trading operation, particularly regarding whether it improperly accounted for hedges. This probe comes after earlier reports of a broader investigation into ADM's accounting practices, including its nutrition unit. Now, ADM continues to say it is cooperating with authorities. Earlier this week, the company said it would be buying back $1 billion worth of stock under an accelerated repurchase agreement, and that has helped its stock rise more than 2% on Wednesday. Corn, soybeans, and wheat all sliding a bit on Thursday. Can we rebound to end the week? Michelle Rook is back with Markets Now.
We ended up with a lower day in the grains on Thursday. Jim McCormick with agmarket.net is back with us. Jim, let's start off with soybeans. We had a big rally early in the session and then failed. You know, did we see farmers selling or did we get pulled down by the lower wheat market?
There's a little bit of combination of both, Michelle. We definitely, our commercial contact said we did see some soybean sales show up from the producer on this rally. The wheat market, though, was down under pressure the whole session as well, so that definitely helped. Did not help the bull situation, I should say. And then lastly, you did get some bean production numbers from Agriconsult. They came in there at a 152.2 crop, quite a bit above where Conab was yesterday. So that might have took a little bit of the bullish sheen off the market as well.
Yeah. And Jim, this wheat market keeps going down, but China's canceled wheat from the U.S., French wheat, and now Australian wheat.
That's the story right now, Michelle. I mean, we've seen them cancel U.S. wheat, but yeah, it's very seldom that you see them come in here and cancel French and Australia wheat. It's really hard to know what's exactly going on. We are suspecting that it has something to do with China being able to get the wheat from the Russians a lot cheaper. Russia has a lot of wheat left over from last year's crop. They got a pretty good crop on the way. So to me, it looks like China may be doing some of a barter deal, getting rid of like I said, the Western wheat and trying to buy it from Putin.
Yeah. So did corn get pulled down by the wheat market or did we run into some chart resistance there again?
Corn hit a little bit of technical resistance, no doubt about it. But when you got the wheat down almost double digits, it is going to pull the corn down a little bit. And then lastly, Michelle, we did see more of a macro selling. The livestock markets are all kind of under pressure as well. So it seemed like more of kind of a 4-step forward, 2-step back type of trade. The trend is still up, but got a little overbought, set the market up for a little bit of a correction.
Yeah. So you mentioned the risk off and the reversal that we saw in the cattle market. Are you concerned about that?
Technically, I'm concerned about it. It was not a good technical close. That could essentially lead to a little bit more technical selling. But when you look at the overall fundamentals, the supply is still very tight. Overall, the economy is still relatively strong, so that should keep the cattle market intact over the summer, I would believe.
Thanks so much, agmarket.net's Jim McCormick. And for more extended market analysis, go to My Markets Now podcast.
To contact Jim McCormick at Ag Market, call 844-4AG-MARKET or visit their website at www.agmarket.net.
Well, you can really see where the warmer air is located because where rain did come down, it came down. It's just that. Rain in and across portions of the plains and the Midwest, also back up here to the north and to the northeast. A good amount of snowfall, and nearly a foot, if not more, depending on locations. Here towards Colorado, the Four Corner States, and back up to the north and to the northwest. That is the current snow depth in and across the United States. Could actually add to some of the snow both here and up here going into the weekend, with some colder air trying to sink in and across the United States. We'll start things off. This is Jetstream on Friday. There's our ridge down here to the south and our cutoff low back out here to the west. There's actually 3 features that are going to cause not only some snow in the forecast Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week, but also some significant rainfall as well. The 3 features being the ridge, And then the cutoff low here and another low pressure system, or another trough, I should say, digging down here from the north to the south. So let's go ahead and put this into motion. There's a jet stream on Friday. And as you get into your Saturday and Sunday, pocket of cold air is going to kind of squeeze the ridge. And right in between those two systems, you're going to get a good amount of rainfall down here to the south where that Gulf of Mexico moisture is opened up. And then this is going to rotate back up towards the northeast. That's where we could see some snow coming down with some colder than average temperatures. Just a reminder though, when we say colder than average temperatures, this isn't January average temperatures. You're going to be looking at a little bit warmer conditions, but could have an impact depending on how far south this cold air gets in terms of what we got with the farming. Could be looking at some colder temperatures impacting some crops as this gets down to the south, or at least some of that activity. Just kind of worth noting and keeping in the back of your mind Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for portions of Tennessee, North Carolina, possibly even into Georgia. All the way into Wednesday and Thursday, the more zonal flow starts to show up. That's going to bring these temperatures back up as well. A bit of a quieter pattern tries to set up by Thursday and Friday of next week. Niagara Falls, you got some morning clouds, evening sun, high around 53 degrees, and some falling water. New Haven, Connecticut, cloudy, high of 64, low of 42. Wayne, Kansas, partly cloudy, high of 57 degrees.
How does a bowl of beef rice sound? We'll look at the latest new competitor to the beef industry. And later, help continues to pour into the Texas Panhandle for ranchers and their livestock impacted by those deadly wildfires in the country. There's a possible new challenge for beef producers, something called beef rice. South Korean researchers say they've grown beef cells in rice grains, and they call it a major step toward a new source of protein, and that it could eventually replace farmed cattle for meat. Now, beef rice uses grain particles as the base for cultivating animal muscles and fat cells. In the research, rice grains were treated with enzymes to create an optimal environment for cell growth. Then they were infused with bovine cells that are cultivated to achieve the final hybrid product, which resembles a pinkish grain of rice. A lead researcher on the project says challenges remain when it comes to the technical aspect of producing the product and winning over customers with flavor and texture. Florida is about to become the first state in the nation to ban lab-grown meat. The state's legislature passing a bill that would ban it. The bill would make it a second-degree misdemeanor charge to sell or manufacture lab-grown meat. It's now awaiting the signature of the governor, and he has indicated he will sign it. University of Arkansas National Agriculture Law Center says 16 other states have passed laws taking on the use of the word meat on packaging of cell-cultured meat products. While the flames are mostly under control, Texas ranchers are just starting the process of picking up the pieces following those deadly wildfires. But what's left behind and the help that's coming from all over next. In Texas, residents are still under threat of wildfires that started more than 2 weeks ago across the state. Now, a Central Texas group is lending a helping hand by donating 1,000 bales of hay to wildfire victims. Madison Myers has more from the town of Marlin, southeast of Waco.
When I say it's a fire, they have nothing.
People from all over Central Texas are coming together to help those in need in the Texas Panhandle. With wildfires continuing to burn, one group, Operation Cow Chow, has raised more than $14,000. Most of the donations have gone to fuel, as the group has moved more than 950 bales of hay, some as far as from Oklahoma.
Well, we've just been driving a lot and just doing what we can to get them as much hay as possible for right now.
More than 10 trucks have been used in the group's efforts to deliver the donations of hay, which is an essential for farmers in the fire-ravaged area. Monday afternoon, I went to Marlin, where another truck was being sent out to continue the fight.
They reached out to my parents, and we asked if we could donate some hay for them, and we told them yes, of course. You know, we're not going to second choice that or think about it twice. We're going to hop on it.
I think as Christians, we're called to help each other out, and as fellow Texans, we're here to help each other out. But, you know, this isn't just a Texas thing. We've hauled hay into Oklahoma. We hauled hay from where the fire started to where the fire ended at.
The fire in the Panhandle is the largest fire in recorded Texas history.
We hurt too sometimes, and it's nice to know, hey, we can help somebody out in a rough time, and then, you know, they'll return the favor one day, you know, whether it's a prayer or if it's just a thought or something, they'll return the favor.
Madison Myers reporting. Now, Texas A&M Extension is also helping out many ranchers in the area. For the latest on what they need as far as donations, check out the AgDay Facebook page. And that's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. From all of us here at AgDay, I'm Clint Griffiths. Have a great day.